Welcome to Unspoken Real Talk, where men come to talk, to heal, and to be heard. I'm your host and moderator, Pamela Coleman. Wednesdays at 7 p.m., we dive into the powerful, often unspoken conversations around men's mental health. From silent struggles to bold breakthroughs, this is a safe space where vulnerability is strength and real talk is the rule. With conversation that reflect the journey, the pain, progress, and peace, you'll see you're not alone. So pull up a chair, open your mind, and let's talk. This is Unspoken Real Talk. Welcome to
One day I'm going to get that right. So, hello. Welcome into Unspoken Real Talk, where men come to talk about mental health and all things that's important. Tonight we have author and friend and brother in authorship, Royce Dixon Sr. Welcome in, friend.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
A little bit about me. I am a husband of over 30 years, two kids, Tracina and Royce Jr., bailiff, photographer, author, content creator for my church. I do a little bit of everything.
I was going to say that's a do it all Dan.
It's a pretty full day.
That's a do it all Dan. I'm gonna jump into my thank yous ahead of time in case I forget. Thank you for participating in the most recent Unspoken Real Talk. It's starting to take more legs than what we were thinking, so it's more like a centipede now.
Okay.
Because the men are asking for another one. I think I told you this. So I gotta strategize a title because the first two made sense, but I don't want it to just seem like it's thrown together.
Right.
So when you think of mental health, men's mental health, through the eyes of a Black man, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? What do you think when you hear that?
When I first hear that, suffering in silence. We're taught what goes on in the house stays in the house. Really not knowing how to, or being taught at an early age how to express ourselves, because we listen to so much of what society has to say and what society paints as a man should be or how he should act.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the first couple things that just come to mind real quick.
I know we talked about this before on our inaugural broadcast, but when you if you were seeking therapy and wanted help, do you want someone to look like you, or just a doctor?
I would prefer to have someone that looks like me, so they'll be able to they're more able to understand the things that we go through on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not that another person couldn't have that empathy, but it's different when you maybe had some of the same experiences, and they won't have the same conversation I had to have with my son about being a Black man raising, when you're driving, how you need to act if you get pulled over by the police. Another person won't have that same fear that I may have. So that's why I said I would prefer.
That what you were saying about being pulled over,
Mm-hmm.
I keep reiterating to my sons to make a copy of your driver's license and your insurance and anything else they may ask for, and keep it at the visor.
Right.
So you can, I know this sounds like the hate you give type of thing, but you can keep your hands where they can see it and they can reach and get everything they need.
That's a great idea. And even with me, and I work in the judicial system, I still have that fear that something can happen. You're only one bad stop away from either having a felony or winding up dead. So it's important for us to be careful in how we move.
And what's sad that we're here, that even you in the system, working as someone who holds the badge and, you see it, you're nervous.
Right.
Then there's I don't want to say only one reason why, but it's two reasons why. You're male and you're Black.
Right.
And we should have been past that, but
Unfortunately, we're not. I mean, we've seen it with police officers. You know, you have a bad encounter with other police officers. You know, and they're trying to show their badge, and they're mistaken for going for a gun or something. So you just never know. And you know, I do have concealed carry. So when they flag my name, that's going to come up.
Mm-hmm.
So not that I carry in the car with me, but they can just see that I have that license. And so if that cop's having a bad day, it could be a bad experience.
We all have bad days. It's how do we, channel that,
Right.
because I've had last week was a bad week, whole week, so it's hard.
Right. You know, and that goes to mental health too. You know, maybe even those guys, because you see so much bad every day, that maybe you need to see somebody to help to work with your mental health.
Mm-hmm. Because it's like you said, you're just one bad stop away.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have you in the box by yourself this time, so I can ask the question. I don't know if we did this one or not, but when you were going through the book process
mm-hmm.
and what led up to the book, how did that affect your mental, your thought processing? Because the ending was a good ending because we got the fair lady back. But how that process, did you end up in a dark place before you?
I was in a dark place, but I wrote the book after we got back together. But in my journey in writing the book, it helped me to realize that I had all these hidden feelings, which came out to be a book as well, that I didn't even know I had. Because I was just journaling what we went through, through the divorce, getting married, then divorcing, then getting remarried. I was just kind of doing a journal of how I felt. And before you know it, I realized that, hey, I did a lot of things wrong. And I did some things that I need help dealing with. Because I could have went and talked to my dad about the things that I was going through. But I felt as a man, here I am almost 40, I shouldn't have to run to my dad about my problems anymore. And because here I am with my own son. And then two, all of my friends were either still married or never been married. So nobody I knew in my immediate circle that I truly trusted had really been through a divorce. So I didn't know who to talk to. So I just kept a lot of things in.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we went through the divorce, I went to a real dark place. Funny you said that, because me and my wife were just talking about it the other day. I started drinking a lot more than I ever did. I stopped going to church. I was pretty much going out, trying to party every night, trying to find something to fill that void that was left when she left. And it wasn't until, I kept going back and forth to church and praying. And some days I would go to church by myself and just go down to the altar and pray. And God began to reveal to me some things. And one thing that he showed to me was, you need to look in the mirror at yourself before you point the finger at anybody else. So when I got that from him, I'm like, okay, I can see where I did things wrong. And then I wanted to go a step further. So I went and asked Lisa, how could I have been a better husband or better father? And the first time I asked her that, she was like, Royce, you really don't want to know the answer. I'm like, really, I do. She's like, no, you don't, because I don't have to spare your feelings anymore. I can say whatever I want to say, and it really not affect me because I'm not your wife. So I was like, okay. So I left, but I had to go back. I went back to her again because that just didn't sit right with me. I wanted to find out what I needed to do to be better. So the second time I went back to her, she was like, if I tell you this, I don't have to hold back. I'm like, no, you can tell me whatever. Just let me have it. Whatever you want to say, just say it, and I'll deal with the rest. And when I tell you she let me have it, she was unfiltered, and she told me all these things. And I'm like, okay, and it hurt. But I had to hear those things in order to become the man I am now. And so I took those things to heart, and I began to see myself, my shortcomings, things that I never thought of, and ways that how I could have avoided a lot of arguments or given her some time in order for her to, if I did, let's say something in the house, if I helped her clean up around the house, that would have gave her more time to come spend with me while I was out playing softball. So there are some things where I could have learned to give and take that I never even thought about it. Everything was from my point of view. And when I started to see things from her point of view, they started to make sense. And so I went back and I started working on those things. And once she saw that I had changed, truly changed for me, and not just trying to change for her or to get back with her,
Mm-hmm.
she began to soften her stance towards me, and we began to work on things and become friends again.
That I don't know. Your story, I stay with it. I share it. I'm like, it's one you probably will never hear again. It may be similar, but it's not the same. The work you put in to make that happen is, every time I talk about it, I get choked up. It's just like,
This
I was like,
still
you
gets
guys
me
won't
sometimes.
believe this. Go buy the book.
Right.
It's
And
just, whew.
there was so much to unpack and to think about. But like I said, I had to change for me. I couldn't just change for her or just because I was lonely or whatever. And I truly believe if you change for somebody else, that change is only temporary because it's not taking root. But once you change for yourself and it starts to take root, then people will see that outward change. And now I'm like she'll say this too, that I'm always better than her first husband. And the first time she said that, I thought she was being funny and throwing a jab at me because I didn't know how to take it. And so she said it again. She said it again. I'm like, wait a minute. I need to understand, what do you mean I'm better than your first husband? Because I'm that same guy that was your first husband. She's like, no, you're not. You're totally different than my first husband. He said, you're a different guy. You changed. And so once she told me that, I'm like, okay, now I get it. And she told me, another thing she told me was, anything I tell you that you may not agree with, I'm only saying it to help you and never to hurt you. And that began to make sense. And now whenever she sees that I've made a mistake or she's trying to help me out along the way, especially being a new writer, we make a lot of mistakes. But she's like, and she's my, she's like an editor for me. So she's like, try doing it this way. And so most of the time it usually works for me. And now we've learned how to work together in everything that we do. Things are a lot easier. Things are a lot better. We've grown leaps and bounds from where we were when we were kids.
Why can't you be my black rom-com? Because this is perfect. I binge watch them on the weekend. It's just like, I never come out of pajamas and I'm just binge watching. And I'm like, this is a perfect, where you get to that part where, you guys divorce and everybody's sitting on the edge going, oh, they're never going to get back together. And then the work's put in.
Yeah.
And then, basically you two ride off and on the white horse. But
yeah,
think about that one.
Yeah.
Screenplay that one.
We will do, we used to do podcasts, but we got real busy and then life started happening. But I think we're going to get back to doing the podcast, because when we did a conference in Ohio, and she was on one side of the room and I was on another side of the room. And we put like these chairs, we put like a barrier, if you can imagine, like a brick barrier between the two of us. And it was telling the people how, we were putting so many things in front of our marriage, and we're in our marriage, that we couldn't see or hear one another. So now you see this wall going up, and you see that we can't see each other. Now we can't hear each other, and we're just drifting apart. But when we began to put in that work, we began to take down one brick at a time, and now we can see each other. Now we can hear each other, and now we can work our way back to getting closer again. So it was real powerful to see it, But it's one thing to hear, but then to actually see it too makes a big difference.
So you guys ever thought about doing a couples self-help book type thing?
Yeah, it's coming.
Okay.
It's
See,
coming.
that's why we bro and sis and reels rolling.
Yes, because a lot of people need to hear her side of it too. Because I gave you my side from a man's point of view, but to hear her side along with my side, I think it makes the story even stronger.
Ooh, can't wait for that one. Cannot wait for that one. You were talking about your son, and we are dealing with the men's mental health. How do you see it changing from your dad to you to him?
Well, my son he's so much like me. You know, when I was coming up, real quiet, mild mannered, slow to speak, and he'll let a lot of things build up inside, and then he'll explode at the wrong time. So I'm hoping that he's watching me now and just see how different I am. And we've had conversations too about how to get past that, because holding stuff in is never good, especially when you let it build up to the point now you got to find a way to let it release. And a lot of times we let it release in the wrong way. Like I said, I started drinking a lot. I was going out trying to club every night. Well, with him, he's a workaholic. He'll work 16, 17 hours a day if they let him. Come home, get us up a couple hours of sleep, and then go back. And I think that's his way of coping with issues that he has in his life. But I'm like, son, that's not good either, because you're not getting the proper rest. You don't eat well. So you're damaging yourself. So now when we have these conversations, I can let them know it's okay to feel this way. And if you're feeling this way, then you need to express it. If you can't say it out loud, then write it and then come back to it. But don't just hold it in. Find a way to creatively let it out.
That's the start of what we're trying to do, is to break it. And once he receives what you're telling him, when he has his, then it'll we're on the path. The path.
Right.
We are on the path. I know you have a project, which I don't know if we could talk about it or not. That's coming out with the men.
Yes,
Can you share?
I can't wait for this to come. The title of my next book will be Our Fathers. And it's talking about our experiences as fathers and what fatherhood means to us through our eyes. And I told the guys, I don't want to tell you how to write it or what to write about. As long as it's within those boundaries of fatherhood, write whatever you want as long as you want it. Because I don't want to minimize your experience as a father, because we all have different experiences. So some guys have all girls, some of the guys got all boys, some got a mix, some are Christian, some are Muslim. It's gonna be a high.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's got everything in it. Yeah, because we all think differently and we all parent differently. And I think it's time for men to be celebrated as well as mothers. Because when Father's Day come around, we don't see much in the stores. You don't get that same hype as Mother's Day. You know, Mother's Day is like the second biggest holiday, especially for people when they're going to church. Everybody come to church with their mothers. But how many do you see coming to church for their fathers?
And you can get a table. You can get a table at a restaurant on Father's Day. You don't have to wait.
Right. And, we get a pair of socks or a tie versus we'll go out and buy the world for mom. She'll come home with a bouquet of flowers, candy, whatever. It's like, oh, by the way, Dad, here's your card.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. I got some great guys that are willing to share. And like I said, we all got different experiences. That's what I'm really excited about, to read all the different experiences that we've all had around fatherhood.
That, I love it. I'm looking forward to it, because I was working when you guys were doing the one with Shanitha, and everybody's walking by. What are you doing? I had my phone playing it, and customers walking by going, like, "Hey, get down." Right. But that's great. Yeah. I know it's too soon to ask this, but are you going to do a follow-up
to Our Fathers? Possibly. one of the things that I would love to see is for us to do a men's conference.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just a conference, because I would want women to come in and see the experience too, and because they may be a single mom who's
Mm-hmm.
trying to raise a son who may need to hear what these fathers have to say. But I would love to get all the guys on stage one day and we just have like a roundtable discussion based on the book about our experiences as a father and what can we do to help the next guy who may not have kids yet, but he wants to have kids one day.
Yeah, that sounds like I want to do Brothers Who Brunch and have the guys just come in, eat whatever, have a conversation about what's going on with them, similar to that, but it's getting the pieces and everything in the right place. So I said I might just do it, with the plethora of guys here, and then try to move it out, because most of the guys I work with are in states.
Right.
Nobody. I got Florida, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and handful in Virginia. So
Right.
it's just getting the cheeks in the chairs.
Yeah. Because when we sit around at the barbershop, we have some great conversations that nobody ever gets to hear. So now I want to take that experience in the barbershop and bring it out to the front, to a conference or a seminar, and let people hear those real conversations, because some of those conversations you just sit back and be like, wow, I never knew that.
My dear brother, you just gave me an idea. Have it at the barbershop.
Yeah.
Have it at the barbershop and let it come out into, on a bigger,
right.
Bring them into the barbershop and have it there.
It's kind of like women when they go to the hairdresser. I'm sure y'all have pretty much the same types of conversations sometimes. But like when the men get together in the barbershop, for some reason, like the walls come down and you're just able to freely express whatever it is, and we talk about a multitude of topics. Sometimes me and my barber will just sit and talk for
because it's a safe
30,
place.
40 minutes.
Yeah, it's a safe place, because I do that with my beautician of 30 years. Yeah. So you can just sit there and it's like, you become family, because you know what they, their family, and they know about you, or if you're having a bad day or something, they know.
Exactly.
So, and they also tell you, hey, you're thin and you're stressing out.
Right.
So yeah, that's a safe place.
Yeah.
That is
something that when I get my days to go to the barbershop, that's something I don't have to worry about taking the pictures, the books, all I have to worry about is just going there and just sitting in a chair, or just being in the room sometimes, because my dad will go with me sometimes, and just to hear him talk and see how he moves and what he thinks about certain things. So you pick up on things like, that's where I got that from. Yeah. So
that every time I talk to you guys, my wheels roll on something else, and then it's like, aha, light bulb. See, right. I ain't never gonna sleep. I ain't never gonna sleep.
But I gotta applaud you for even thinking this way, because a lot of people don't think about the other side. For you to be a woman and you thinking about men's mental health, and you're doing all this work for men's mental health, I salute you for doing it, and thank you for putting all this together.
Oh, you're welcome. So it's just when I don't want to say an underdog, but when you know that there's somebody out there that needs help, and the other group is already conditioned to do it,
right,
and the other group has been conditioned not to do it, basically almost instructed not to do it, then why not?
Right.
It's like a why not. But also, as you know, I had to get to a point where there was trust. There was I can talk to Pam and it's gonna be okay, or what she's doing, she's not out trying to capitalize on it and make bank or whatever, and that's not what I'm here for.
Yeah.
I want you guys to do it. Now, if I get $1 or $2 here or there, that's fine. But I want you guys to do it. That's why I try to get the orders for you guys so you guys can sell your books.
You know,
But
and that's one thing I loved about this journey. And once I signed with She and I met all of you guys, it's so much more than just us, authors getting together. We're like you said, we're like family. We can talk to one another, we trust one another, we bounce ideas off one another. And that's what there was just no competition. That's what I truly love about that. There's no competition in what we're doing. We're all just trying to help somebody else.
Yeah. And I
like
think
you said, we make a buck, we make a buck.
Yeah. And that, I'm with you on that one. It took me 2 events to understand that because I was new. I thought when you went to these events, you were gonna walk out with $500-$600, and I'm like, okay, that's not happening.
Right.
And I met Dr. Miller in Atlanta, and it was like we were sharing a table, and it was an immediate bond. And I was sharing with her that my perception is slowly changing. But she couldn't figure out. She said, "What's going on?" She said, something's not right. What's going on? And I said, well, my perception was that I was going to, sell all these books, and I was going to, go back empty-handed, and I don't have money to get the Uber back to the hotel.
Yeah.
And she looked at me and she said, okay. And I'd known her for 4 hours, and this woman gave me cash out me money to get an Uber home. She can't get rid of me now, but
exactly.
But it's just like, that's what we do now. That's what we do. But yeah, she stuck with me like feeding a cat. But that's what people like, oh, you making money. No, I had a full-time job and a part-time job.
Exactly. If they only knew.
Like, at some point, something will take off.
Yeah.
And when that does, then I'll sit back on my, at the beach somewhere and rake it in. But right now, it's not a hit or miss. It's just the people for each book I have not reached yet. So I'm okay with that.
That's one of my biggest joys when we go to like these things, to these different events. You meet somebody and, they're sitting there talking to you for 30, 40 minutes. And it may be somebody at the table waiting to buy a book, but there's something about this person that needs to hear what you got to say. And that makes it all worth it to me. Like, wow.
I ended up leaving with, you remember so you guys were sitting, your table was like this, and she was right next to me. Yeah, we coming back. I kept in touch with her. She's from Vegas. Okay. So that it just, and the man that ran the exposition last year, keep in touch with him. So it's just, you do pick up. Yeah. You pick up people.
Yep.
So
those connections are priceless.
And then some. Yeah. And then some. It's just, whoo. But now that messed with my mental. Let's talk about that for a second. Okay. That messed with my mental. I was almost like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done. And then along comes Unspoken. And I'm like, okay, I'm not done. But I would like to get time to work on my own stuff, but that's not happening either. So I'm gonna have to wait for a snow day when they cancel school for a week, and then maybe I can get to that.
Yeah, I was like that when we went to Houston. That first Houston trip, when I was like, okay, I've been here and I spent this amount of money and I didn't make that back. And my wife was the one who talked me out. And she's like, what are you in this really for? Are you in it for the money, or are you in it to be the help like you said you are? I want to help people, but I want to make the money too. Yeah. But what do you really want it for? And once I realized that I really wanted to help people more so than I wanted, the money. The money is great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to turn it down.
Oh, no.
At the same time, you're helping more people than you really know. Because somebody may go home that just bought the book, and they may tell 20 of their friends, and they may change another life. So now you've enriched more than just that one person.
Because I kept the message that I got from the guy that I think I told you about that was thinking about doing something to himself. and he got which one? He got this book.
Okay.
And he sent me a message and said he went to seek therapy after reading a book. So
yeah,
you keep pushing, but it's just, but I get it. The Houston trip, I did more networking. I left with more contacts than I did sales. And I can't remember where it was at where I spent $1,000 to go. And I came back with everything I had. So yeah. Don't think you're gonna be the next John Grisham.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a blow to the ego at first, but once you realize what you're truly in it for, it's fine to me.
Yeah, I had to get past, like you said, once you get past it, then your excitement, like even though I'm not ready for next week, the excitement is still there.
Oh yeah.
Especially,
when I write the next book, that takes on a whole new excitement than when you did the other book. You would think that, okay, now you've written a book, you've written 2 books. Oh, it's to get the same feeling. No, it's different. Every time I write a new book, I get a whole
because you get to talk
feeling. About
something different.
Yeah.
I can't wait. It's like, right. He's got a new book.
Yeah, and then when the new one came out, A Rose on the Concrete Court, and it started going so well, we did the virtual book signing, and so many people went out and bought it that first day. That was a totally unbelievable experience. A joy that I hadn't felt with the others. I mean, I had been happy with the other ones, but this one just took on a whole new light. And how Will is doing now. So I'm truly looking forward to what's next with our fathers.
Yeah, that's what I say. I'm strapped in too. Whatever I'm supposed to be doing, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
So, there's just, I don't know.
I heard that saying. What's that saying? It's not about the destination; it's the journey. So yeah, we want to be great. We want to be New York bestseller authors, but that journey along the way is definitely worth it, and it's something new. It's something fresh every time.
And it just seems like for me, even though this isn't about me, but we're gonna go there for a second. Yeah. It's the book writing for me has almost completely stopped. I come down and I maybe write a paragraph, but it has completely stopped because I have 3 people who have sent me all of their stuff.
Okay.
So I'm trying to help them get up and running on their own Amazon account.
Yeah.
So that's, one guy dropped 23 chapters in my lap. I'm like, okay, so give me my deposit and I'll finish up for you. And then there's one lady that I'm gonna look at tonight. That our publisher helped me with this. Love her to death. I was able to help her turn hers around so it didn't seem like she was being political and or coming for someone. Yeah. It was more so her story. So I got her to word it as her story, Gotcha. So she's telling about how her son, who her son was before he went to Japan. And then once he got to Japan, then the story is being shared on how he got arrested and he's still in the Japan jail.
Oh, wow.
And they got, what is it? Some type of hope in Japan. I think it's in Japan to help him because right now all DNA stuff, but I got her to spin it so that she's telling her story. Gotcha. And not poking jabs at the higher powers that be in that situation.
Yeah.
So that one, she wanted it done. She wanted me to do it. So
yeah, you got a lot on your plate. I see, how you just moved from being a writer to publisher now. you're starting your own publishing company. So
Well, no.
no,
No. Because that, I'm proud of our sisters.
mm-hmm.
That's not me.
No.
That's not me. So what I call my little self is publisher consultant.
There you go.
So
Okay.
yeah, take all that off.
Right.
All I'm doing is helping them self-publish.
Okay.
So they send, I help format their chapters, how they set it up on Amazon, and make sure everything's nice and neat. Here you go.
Okay.
So,
Still a valuable
no.
tool, but you're playing a very vital role for some, for these authors. So
Well, she's seen some of the work that we've done so far, so she's like, she trusts me and she
yeah.
wants this done. But here's the thing. She ain't writing none of it. I have all the stories,
Yeah.
and the interviews and stuff. So technically, I'm putting it together.
Yeah. I may be moving into that role myself as a ghostwriter. I don't know yet, but we'll see how it goes. I'll try it the one time.
I'm gonna see how this goes. I'm gonna see how these. I'm not taking on any more. There's 2 waiting, and those 2 I want to do, but I want to see how I do with these, because there's young ladies that want to tell their story about inappropriate actions as they were growing up.
Oh.
One from a stepfather and a boyfriend of mother, and the other one was an uncle and police officer.
Wow.
So, and I don't want to make them wait, and then they change their mind because they're here.
Right.
So it's just.
Yeah. I'm sure you'll find a way to make it happen.
I think I got one more question for you though.
Okay.
When you, because of your job, when you walk in, I don't want to say a ritual, but is there something that you do to help you get through the day, because you don't have an easy job?
Every morning before I get out of bed, when my alarm goes off, I wake up and I sit on the side of my bed and pray before I do anything. Before my feet hit the floor, my feet will never touch the floor until I've prayed. Then I'll go, as I'm getting dressed, I listen to different motivational stuff. I listen to a lot of Eric Thomas, different motivational speakers to get me going. And then once I get to the courthouse, get checked in, get my courtroom set up, I'll sit back and I'll listen to some more motivational stuff. And then after that, I can go from 8 to 12, usually 8 to 12, and then I'll take a lunch break. I'll leave the building just to get some fresh air, different perspectives, get to see different things, clear my thoughts. And then I come back from 1 to 5. I'm usually done at 5, sometimes later, but normally it's 5 o'clock. So I pretty much break my day up into 2 4-hour shifts is what I call it. I do the first, you can do just about anything with 4 hours. So you sit there, you listen to it. Come lunchtime, I let everything go. Then I start over again at 1. Listen to it to 5. Then once I get home, I let it go. I don't bring it home. She'll ask me how my day went. It went good. I didn't have any problems. And then after that, we're on to something else. We're talking about what happened to each other, what we want to do next, or we just sit down and just talk. So yeah, that's pretty much my routine every day. Pray before you do anything. Clear your mind at noon, and at 5, just let it go. Don't think about it. And so very rarely, I can't tell you the last time I had a bad day. I refuse to let something that happened that maybe took 20 minutes ruin my whole day. I'm not going to ruin my mood. I'm not going to be stressed out over this. So again, I've learned to just let it go if I can. If not, then I'll find a way to deal with it. If that means I got to come back tomorrow and deal with it later, then that's what has
Right.
to happen. But I'm not gonna bring it home and let it stress me out or get in, become in between my relationship. Because at the end of the day, it's about me and her. Everything else at work's gonna happen. Life's gonna happen. But I got to make sure we're straight here at home.
So my takeaway is that for the last 2 years, I have not taken a lunch. So my takeaway is I might need to take that break in the day.
Yeah. Because your days can get heavy if you let it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you hear a lot of depressing things. For 13 years, I did nothing but divorce court. So I heard people's problems every day. One day a week we did adoptions, and that's the first thing we did. But then we go right back to divorce. So the last thing I leave with is divorce. And what's crazy is I was working in the very courtroom that I got divorced in. So there's always that memory of the divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Then I reflect. I look back at my life now, or I look at how we are now with each other. Like, yeah, that was the past, and let the past stay in the past because what was before me is greater than what was behind me.
That's I hear people say that the past is a past, and some people can do that until, like you said, there's something, you're working really hard in the past, you've pushed it back, you left it back there, but something comes up to almost push you back there. And that's I heard that's been a struggle for some people, that they try to leave it there, but something will come up and just throw them back there. So I'm like,
Oh yeah,
ooh, that's a
definitely,
hard one.
definitely. You'll definitely, like, there's still triggers that we have.
Mm-hmm.
There's still things that remind us of what happened back then. And when those things happen, we try to recognize it in the beginning. But no, we're not letting that get us again. It got us once. It's not going to get us again. So then we deal with it. We talk about it, or we agree to not talk about it and then come back at a later date. So we have our own little ways of working that out, or just smiling through it. Yeah, it was that shouldn't happen. I apologize. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's move on.
Yeah.
Is it really worth being mad, going to bed mad at each other, or something that was trivial?
No, and I agree with you. The I always say this, good people like, oh, you wrote the book, you're healed. And I'm like, nope, I'm not healed, I'm improved. And I
Yeah.
say it all the time. I probably will never be healed. I don't know. Only thing for me that's healed is like if somebody has a cut or surgery or something like that.
Yeah.
But if you're dealing with stuff in your psyche, your mental, your memories of growing up, I don't think you ever heal, but
Right.
you've improved from it.
Yeah. And
Because heal is closing something. And
right. But even if you had like a surgery, you still got that scar.
yes,
The scar is a
you do.
reminder. It don't hurt anymore, but you still see it. It's
Mm-hmm.
still there. But now it doesn't affect you the same way that it once did, because even that scar doesn't carry that same pain that it once did.
Nope. And that's why I said, I might have to trademark that one. But yeah, I'm definitely not healed.
Yeah.
Just like they say, you're bent but not broken.
Right.
Yeah, I'm healed, not healed, but I'm improved.
Mm-hmm.
Because and I say this all the time, if I'm talking to you, and I mean, this could just be me and you elevate your voice,
Yeah.
I stop talking. I just go like this. It's just like that 6-year-old girl
Mm-hmm.
just comes back, and it's like, and I've told my kids this. So I try to tell people that I know that if it happens, then I'm like, hey, this, I walk away and then I come back and go, hey, look, this is something that I work on, but
Right.
will not go away.
Yeah.
So it's just, ooh.
I think the problem is we expect things to heal right away, and it takes time, and it looks different for everybody. And what I may be healed from, we may have had the same experience, and I just may be a little further along, or maybe it's, we just may be at different stages. But I'll never tell you that you should feel this way, because your feelings are your feelings; they're valid. And I think that's the problem that we have. We want people to be thing done right away. We want that healing to occur immediately, and it doesn't. What took years to hurt us is not going to go away in a day or two. No, it takes
And
time.
those people that you got that will tell you, Royce, it's okay. You be all right. And it's like, no, I want somebody to talk to or to understand that this is my struggle.
Exactly. And it's like somebody who's had a death. They're grieving. You can't tell that person that they should get over it by now.
No.
They're going to grieve as long as they need to grieve, as long as they're not sitting in it and hurting themselves from it.
Right.
But just be there to support. Sometimes you just need to be there to listen and not say anything.
And it's different it could be the same person, and I'm going to refer to myself. It could be the same person, but your grieving could be different for each person that passes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because I struggle with my dad being gone, and he left in 2014. Everybody else that has died since then, and it's just because of all we went through, and that was my homie.
Right.
That, I when you talk about a daddy's girl, I was one. I was one, because when kids were in school and they go, "Yo, mama," and then the fight break out.
Right.
Somebody said something to me one day in middle school. They said, "Yo, mama." I said, "You're probably right." But they said something about my dad, and I turned around, and they were on the floor. Yeah. I got in trouble, but don't say nothing about my daddy.
I hear you.
When you go back to the Father's Day, celebrating the fathers, and I was the one.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm a mom. Don't get me wrong. I love my daddy to death, but I'm a mama's boy. It's funny because my sister is a daddy's girl. My brother kind of falls somewhere in between, and we're all different. We all live in the same household. It just depends on the day. Yeah, we all have different relationships with both of them. So,
yeah, I've always been a daddy's girl from back when I can remember, which starts the very first book, that he was there. He told me that when I was born, that my mom didn't want me because she thought I was Caucasian. And he had to convince her, because I had a little Afro puff, that I was supposed to go home with them. But yeah, she wasn't taking me home. So that was probably day 2 or 3 of my life that I was a daddy's girl. Yeah, she wasn't taking me home. I ended up at my grandmother's house for the first 5 years.
Wow.
Because he wanted to make sure that I was protected from her.
Wow. And I'm sure that plays a big role in even your mental health now. A lot of times the hurt and the pain that we go through as children manifests again as an adult. So
the book I only have one left. Can you believe that? And I will not sell it. I will not take it out. I will not do anything, because that's the only one I have, the very first one. It's Is This Me and Her? And it's talking about me not wanting to be my mother. I did everything I possibly could when I had my kids to not, do what she did. Didn't yell, didn't, just tried to be completely opposite. But then realized that later on in life that I actually married my mother.
Oh.
So, but yeah, he was he never raised his hand at me. He never verbally abused me or anything. It was just mental.
Yeah.
It was mental.
Yeah, the mental hurts more sometimes than the physical.
But I didn't know it. until after he had died that that's what was happening.
Wow.
24 and a half years, and I did not know
You know,
until I did the first book, and then it just like,
yeah. So I think sometimes we're so close to the situation that we don't see it. And it's not until we're able to step back to where we get a clear picture of what's really going on.
because when he
Because,
went to my, I had, I had hair, way down here, I never
uh,
cut my hair. And I wanted to try short hair. And I went to my beautician for 30 years and I got my hair cut, short little haircut, look cute, everything. He went to her the next day and told her, don't ever cut my hair again.
wow.
So we thought it as a joke, we kind of laughed it off. And then when I was talking to her after he died, we were kind of like, And he used to go see her and again thought it was a joke that he wanted to check and make sure her hair wasn't cut. My beautician hair wasn't cut because he said every time she cuts her hair, I get my hair cut.
Oh,
So
wow.
and it wasn't until after,
Right.
so,
Wow.
so that's what I say, not heal, improved.
Improve. I get it. I get it.
But I do see the me that I was before I got married.
Hmm.
Now, I see my kids just I don't know how to describe it. They're just not free, but they just seem, they're free.
Yeah.
They're themselves without wondering, they can listen to the music that they want to listen to and not worry about what he would say.
Yeah.
He was opposed to a lot of things, and I don't feel bad, but once he died, it seemed like the whole house, he was totally against tattoos.
Yeah.
And I think when he passed, that was the first one, and I got 6. The oldest one was hiding one on his back, and I told him to make sure he kept that covered so he wouldn't see it. And then
Right.
the youngest has a sleeve on his leg. I mean, we just went crazy. So it was just, we didn't want to do anything to upset him. So,
Yeah.
and I think again that his that was his mental.
Yeah.
He was a baby of 7, and he had to take care of parents and pretty much the whole family. So
Yeah. What we, like I said, what we go through as kids come back as adults, and then we're trying to raise our children the way we grew up. If we weren't happy with the way we grew up, then why would we teach our kids to grow up that way? But it's all we know.
and I told him, like when you're growing up, the kids want to go out, and the husband was like, no, they can't go out to, parties and stuff.
Right.
And I said, I need you to let them go to these parties. And I had to explain to him that I wasn't allowed to go out to parties. I think I went to 2 in my whole whatever. When I got to college, buck wild was an understatement.
You got some
Yeah,
freedom.
because I was already a functioning alcoholic from middle school to college. So once I got to college and could definitely get my hands on it,
Yeah.
I don't even know how I stayed on the dean's list as long as I did. But anyway, so that's what I, like you said, I tried to break
Right.
what I was in.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. And my oldest is doing the same thing. I can see him doing different things. He's still a little sterner than I would like for him to be, but he's not mine. So I can't tell him what to do.
Right.
I can just kidnap the little fella and, but yeah, that's what I said. I hope that this breaks, with each generation it breaks.
Yeah. And with you doing this, I think generational curses will be broken. We will get out of that mindset of what goes on in this house stays in this house, because you can't get help if it stays in the house.
Yeah.
And this gives men a good space to talk If you can't say it, then they can at least read what's going on and maybe have a different thought process or a different way to go about doing things. So this is great that you're doing this.
I hope the workbooks, I hope I'm able to at least get a copy of the workbooks in my hand for next week. But each book has a workbook with the same cover on it. It says workbook journal. And they're different. They're not the same, which was kind of hard to do because all I wanted to do was put a cover on the other one. It just, but it was not easy. So everybody has a workbook. So going forward, I'll try to make sure that the workbook's already ready.
Gotcha.
Instead of it being a hindsight.
Yeah. Well, like
but it's got anxiety and exercises and journaling pages and stuff in it. So we're gonna do this.
Like I told you before, whenever you need me, just let me know. We'll do it again.
I'm gonna work on it. That might be what you see me sitting over at the table doing when it's slow. Yeah, because I mean, there are guys that want to get into the next one, and then I have my OGs. So I might do book 1 and book 2. Are the same, released at the same time, 1 and 2 at the same time. Because if everybody that wants to participate in this next one, we'll have 40. Easy.
Okay.
So and they're all different stories.
That's good that you got 40 men that wants to do this.
Yeah, the first one had 29 in it, and the second one had 18. So we'll see. I think it was 18. Might be over 20, but total. It was. I can't say it's 50 because we had a couple of repeats, but we definitely have 45 total in these 2 books. Wow. If I could get every one of them on the same stage,
that would be real powerful.
They won't know what hit them. I just don't know what's a central place. People are saying DC, Maryland, or Richmond because they're thinking where major airlines are to come in. So
well, I've never been to Virginia, so
it's a lot to do down there. Not here, but down there. It's a lot to do in Richmond. It's not that much to do here unless you like to eat. We got a lot of places to eat. But I always drive to Maryland, which I got to go this weekend. So pick up Rhonda's books.
Gotcha.
I told her since I was driving, I'll come get her books so she don't have to pay for that on a plane.
Shipping, yeah. You talking about Dr. Rhonda?
Yep.
Okay. I didn't know she was coming, but
I forgot.
You kept saying Rhonda. I was like, Rhonda Lawson?
Yeah, Rhonda Lawson, Dr. Rhonda. I'm going to get her books so she doesn't have to pay for them. And I wish Dr. Miller was coming, but I'm gonna fix my face.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna, I get her stuff when she's up there, and I put it in the car and just bring it back with me. So she don't have to pay for that.
Janita too.
Yeah.
She was coming.
I guess we're just gonna have to turn it up by ourselves.
But that gala is gonna be something special. The venue, I seen the venue. And oh my God, it's beautiful.
I gotta find a dress. I can't find a dress.
You'll find one by then.
Well, see, it says black and white, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm torn if I want to go all white with a splash of black.
Okay.
I'm thinking, do I want to be super crisp?
Right. And did you, not to change the subject, but it's still on the same thing. Did you see the lineup for the all-white party in Indianapolis?
I bought tickets for anything, but I am packing white.
I think it was $10 a ticket.
Okay.
Lorenz Tate was going to be there. Is one of the main names. I know Keith Sweat was going to be there.
Keith is on Friday.
Yeah.
Is he coming to the all white?
I don't know. I just saw all these different names for these different
Okay,
things. I'm
so
like, oh my God, there's so much to do.
Keith is Friday with Cameo and SWV and somebody else. They're Friday night, and the general admission tickets there were 16 if they still had any left, because I was like, I ain't paying $100 to go to that. But they were 16, and the Brat and Lorenzo was at the all white.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But yeah, so I haven't bought tickets for either one, but I got clothes for it.
I haven't either. And we had so much fun when we went last year at the all white. So
oh yeah, I'm definitely, we're gonna have all do-overs this year. So
yeah.
So yeah, I got the white and two different whites. I think if I go to both, I'll just wear white to both of them.
That works.
So, but yeah, I'm definitely thinking about, like you said, the all white, because $10 ain't gonna hurt nobody.
Right.
And the way the last post I saw just a couple hours ago sound like that they are ready to party.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I think Keith is gonna have to wait, because every time we buy tickets for Keith, he don't show up.
Really?
Yeah. So that's what got me scared. I'm like, are we jinxing it? Do we buy the tickets and he don't want us to show up? But I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so you tell everybody where they can find those amazing books.
Okay, so all my books are on Amazon. You go to Amazon.com. You can get Hidden Feelings, Blessed While Broken, JoJo's Learning Adventure, Hidden Feelings Revealed, A Rose on the Concrete Court, Unmasked, and make sure I get it right. A Love Letter Chronicles, A Love Letter to You. That's the one with Dr. C. But all my books are on Amazon, or you can reach me on Facebook at Royce Dixon Sr., on Instagram at author Royce Dixon Sr. Indeed, Royce Dixon Sr. Anywhere you put Royce Dixon Sr., I'm sure I'm the only one out there. Or you
I
can just
did.
Google me.
I found this out, and I'm gonna try this out in Indianapolis. Mm-hmm. That Linktree now has a shop, and I just put all the books from Amazon onto the Linktree, and I use that one QR code, and if they click on that, then they can get the books and go straight to Amazon.
Oh, okay.
So I thought I'd share that with you. If you want to, if you got a Linktree, you can put your books there also. Okay. And when they go in for one thing, then they can go over to the books also.
Right. Well, thank you for letting me know that. I will definitely get on that.
Yep. But have that QR code. Take it with you.
Oh, yeah. Those QR codes definitely come in handy.
Yeah, I think I'm going to use, I'm going to set up like not a business card, because I don't know if we're supposed to do it or not, but they're going to have to catch me. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to see if I can go to, I think the 100 Black Men are there, and see if they want to come over and do interviews for the podcast.
Gotcha.
So if I could get them to do not the full hour, but 30 minutes or maybe 15 minutes, then I could just put segments up.
Okay.
But that's a plan. Just to load the channel up with all the information we can get.
There you go.
Woohoo.
Whatever I can do to help support, just let me know.
If you see something that you think we could do, add, change, whatever, let me know, because I'm always tweaking and willing to add stuff to bring the people into the page.
Gotcha. I want to talk to you next weekend about using StreamYard and how you went about getting everything set up, because I have just been doing Facebook Live. Mm-hmm. I know StreamYard will allow you to stream to Facebook and Instagram at the same time.
Providing you have a certain, you can do, free, or you can pay up. The more you pay, you can get all of them on there. Okay. But my Facebook just changed to professional.
Okay.
So that's a good thing. So I can go in, but I just gotta find a time to go in and see what my passwords and what's it hooked to and all that, because I changed phone numbers, phones, everything. So that's just a project.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about it in Indy.
Okay. I'm ready. No, I'm not. But I will be.
You will be.
What I have is what I'm going to have.
There you go.
All right. Thank you, my friend. I
You're
will
welcome.
talk to you and the missus soon.
All right. Talk to you later.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.